Hello friends, I'm Shelly Clough and today is day 10 of 12 days of watercolor Christmas tags. We have made it so far and I'm excited to show you how we're going to do this little mistletoe bunch today with a bow. So let's go ahead and dive in. So I'm going to keep these up here just so we can kind of see what we're aiming for. For paper today, I'm just using a piece of Canson XL watercolor paper that I punched out with this tag punch here. I will link that below. I like that these are strong enough that they can get through the watercolor paper. So I'm just going to start with that. And then for a brush, I'm going to be using my Cotman size 4 brush. And I'm going to start this with the bow. So for the bow, I'm using some cadmium red, maybe with a little bit of alizarin crimson in there. And I don't want it super concentrated. I want this bow to be a little light and airy. But to start, I'm going to come down from the top almost an inch and make a little tiny rectangle, kind of a rounded rectangle right in the middle. And then on the sides of that, kind of some long, skinny, rounded triangles, just like that. And then I'm going to fill it in. So you can see this color is not super pigmented. It's exactly how I want it. And I'm just going to come and do the same thing on the other side. Nice rounded triangle and back in. Pretty much doing these straight out to either side. If you've been here for the whole series, I did a wreath with a bow for day 1. And this bow looks just a little bit different. So another red bow, but just slightly varied. And then I'm going to make my little tails coming down. You want it to be just a little bit thinner where it meets up with the bow, because that's kind of where our ribbon is bunching up. And then while that's still a little wet, I'm just going to take some extra pigment, make some lines at the bottom of both of these bows, and then just a couple little flicks in the middle. Same thing, kind of a little stripe on the inside of these. Now I want to let this dry completely, and then I'm going to go in with my mistletoe leaves. I'm going to use my heat gun, but if you are doing this at home, go ahead and just paint a couple more of the red bows, and then you can start back at the beginning with your green leaves. Okay, so now I am back. This is all dry, and I'm going to go ahead and make my mistletoe leaves. Now the tricky part of this is we have to paint the leaves without going over any of the red that we've painted. So for my green, I'm just using a mix of sap green, and then I'm making it a little bit bluer with some ultramarine blue. I'm just going through kind of with a balance of those and like a medium amount of water. Again, I don't want this super concentrated. And then just sort of tapping off my brush to make sure it's not too loaded up. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to make little kind of teardrop shapes that are long and skinny. I'm going to come up, kind of make that first one right there, and then start building them around. And now what I want to accomplish is having this look like it's flaring out. You can see I'm leaving just little bits of white space on those leaves. It's just going to help them to have some dimension. And then filling in really carefully the little gaps behind the bow. So it looks like the greenery goes all the way in there. And I don't want to make anything perfectly symmetrical, just because that's kind of, that our eye sees that as a little unrealistic. So now you can see as I come down lower, I'm doing little portions of leaves. And I'm going to come, let's see here. I'm going to flare this out a little bit more. Just like there's a leaf, peeking out from behind. And then I'm even going to do one right here. Just trying to get nice staggering happening on the side here. I don't want it to be all uniform on the side. And probably a couple more, and then we'll be good. So we can do one right here. You come down and do another one down at the bottom. A little one over here. Actually, we'll make that one come all the way over here. Okay, and then for the top, I am just going to do some little marks. These are like the stems that are sticking up off the top. And there's that. And so now I am going to add just a little bit of shadow. So I'm grabbing a little bit of extra blue with that sap green and just kind of dropping it at the top portion of those leaves. Just giving some dimension, shadow. And then a little bit kind of mostly in the center here on top where all those leaves are kind of bunched up. It'll look a little heavier. Okay, so if you want, you can leave it like this. I like to go over this with some pen work. I think it just gives it a little extra something. So I'm going to, again, let this dry all the way, and I'm going to go over it with my pen. Okay, we are back. And now normally you've seen me use my Micron 01 size pen. Today I'm going to shake things up. We're going to use the 005, which is just a little bit more petite. I feel like this is kind of an airier design, and so I want my pen work not to distract from it. So when I go in with the pen, I'm really just outlining some of the shapes I've already made, and then I make a couple little lines that come in the middle to help capture that dimension. And then as I go around the side of these bows, I'm just going to follow those curves, and then at the bottom, make an extra little curve like that. So it almost makes a long, skinny oval at the bottom, and it just pops out that bow shape really nicely. And then a couple little lines down the middle. Again, on this side, we're going to go around and then make that little oval on the bottom. A couple little lines. And then the bottom, trace those with some little lines down the middle. So there's our bow. And now for the leaves, really similar to the way I did these bow tails. I'm just going to trace the shapes I made and then get that little line kind of coming down the middle. And this just helps to kind of pull out those shapes that we laid down. Sometimes they get a little lost with each other after you put all the paint down. So we're just pulling those back out. And on the top here, we're just going to do a few little kind of scratchy marks for those top pieces. So there is our mistletoe. Now we just need to add our string. So I have my hole punch here. This is linked below as well. And I'm just going to punch in the top there. And then on these ones, I've been loving my little candy cane striped string. So I'm just going to clip off some of that, fold it in half,